Hey there, welcome to CT Collectibles. I am C. Hope you're doing well. This is your weekly sports card chart blast where we take a look at the price action of our favorite collectibles. Price is truth. We'll take a we'll start with the indices overall. See what's going on in the various areas of the sports card industry. Take a look at some of the risers and fallers and some of the main areas, and then we'll just look at some of the widely held in the individual sports of the big three here. So entertainment and soccer continue to rip up double digits over the past week. Golf and low end. Low end, it just can't be helped at this point, I suppose. They've been down for a while, and they continue to be so. Golf was up nicely, but it is very thin. So a lot of Nicklaus, a lot of Tiger, and they gave it up recently here. So the last couple weeks have been down for them. Pokemon up double digits here, so getting a little bit of love here. And here's a couple of the names that have done very, very well. George Mikan, a good friend of my grandpa's, met him a few times back in the day, and he's as good as he was at basketball. He's an even better person. So 1 second here, we'll adjust my screen and we'll get you onto the show. All right, entertainment ripping, and it is led by Adam Baum in a PSA 5. So nice rip up there to the top of the range here. Not anything I think I would chase at this point here, sitting at around 260, 270 bucks. You've seen selling take place in the past at this area here, but it is a fun card, and the raw version actually got hit pretty hard on the chin here, so if you're looking for it, consider raw options. Luke Skywalker, PSA 7 rookie card here, consolidation, and a breakout. It's on very little volume. Maybe look for a little bit of throwback or even coming back into this area here, so not anything I think I would chase at this period of time here, but that is a positive sign here. If we can get a test of that, then just think of this one reversed, a breakout or retest, and then a rip higher. So we'll see how that goes. Retest, rip higher. Who knows? We'll come back into the range. Time will tell. But I don't think there's anything to do right at this very second if that's a card you are looking for. Wolverine in a PSA 10. This is the 1990, the paper versions of these cards. Had a really nice run over the past couple. There hasn't been a transaction for a little while in this one at least, so they may be counting some of these here. But it counts. It's an uptrend. It's a rip, and this card is holding in very, very well. So that is a steady uptrend for a lot of those Marvel cards. Even the older ones. Stan the Man, grinding sideways for the most part. So not anything to buy or sell right at this period of time. Low end you want to buy, top end you want to sell. Rinse, repeat until things change. But nice, healthy consolidation. So you had your rip higher, and of course that's going to be given up here. Who knows where the bottom is, but I think you've kind of set your ranges. At least you can manage your risk just a little bit better. But that's had a nice pop over the past week or so here. Pokemon also in that entertainment index, it's showing and giving it some lift here. So Charmander, the Shadowless in a PSA 9 with a nice breakout here. This is very low volume. You had a fake break below, and that's going to lead you to the top of the range more often than not. All right, leaking out of the range without a lot of heavy volume will tend to bring you back into the range here. So downtrend again broken, and so we could see a lot of sideways consolidation. I don't think you chase it in this area here. If you can get it back in here, then you can manage your risk a little bit better. But that card breaking out is a nice sign here. So what is that? 90 bucks or something like that. So yeah, I mean, who knows? I mean, maybe someone comes in at $100 or something like that. But if you can get closer to that $50, $60 area, then you're doing all right for yourself here. Charizard, sorry, Hollow, PSA 9. All right, $1,500 card. All right, this variance is going to matter just a little bit more here. So downtrend, now you're sitting at the top of the range on this one here. So if you're looking for that card, perhaps patience will be rewarded, and you can get it for a little bit cheaper overall. Venusaur, PSA, was that the 6? All right, card letter value up around $700 here. So it's actually sitting near the low part of its range here. It's been snapped up at this area in the past, and we'll see if that happens again. So the risk reward actually sets up pretty well for that one here. All right, one of the bigger fallers here is also Venusaur, but in the PSA 7. So the grades matter here. Bring it into an area where there's been buying in the past. You had a one-off, and it's ripped and purchased quickly, and here you are again. So that sets up pretty favorably. Some of the other losers here, Pikachu, card ladder value, $100, Yellow Cheek, PSA 10. So actually a nice bounce off of support here. So continuing the downtrend, it's kind of flirting with does it want to sustain this breakout, or is it going to continue to go sideways? But looks like again, up in here, very thin volume. Risk reward not favorable. Now you're in an area where it's like, okay, you know, it's the price. It's the price of the price. Maybe it's something to watch, but again, for $100, your downside's, talking about $10 or $15 to the downside or something like that. If that's what you want, this is probably as good a shot as you had for a while. Mookie Betts with the monster rip for baseball, sneaking onto the lower end of his range, and was quickly scooped up by a smart purchaser. Now it's a raw, so who knows if there's something with condition, but with chrome cards, they tend to be 9s or 10s for the most part here. So there could be something wrong with it. Who knows? But quickly snapped up. Now you're at the top of the range on those chromes. The breakout would be positive, but baseball is back, and so we'll see what kind of news surrounds a lot of these players as we head into the season, and then the rubber meets the road, and you better be producing at a level higher than people thought you would produce at, and then your cards can really get going. But for now, top of the range, risk reward unfavorable for Mookie. This is kind of a one-off, and so you can just kind of see where this area right here is more of your price, and you're right in there, so fairly valid for the most part. I suppose Willie Mays with a monster rip out of the range. Now you're sitting at the top of the range where your risk reward is unfavorable. A couple people think this is the price. A lot of people think this is the price. Maybe something to watch going forward. Eloy Jimenez for some reason. PSA 9 tops chrome with a monster move. All right, it's a 20. Last sold was $20, so people aren't thinking too hard about the price here. So unfavorable, but $10 to 20 is kind of your range on that one for now. So don't fine tune it too much. You want an Eloy, go get the Eloy. But I'm guessing there's enough of a disconnect that you can get the 10 for not much more than someone paid for the 9 on that one here. But if he's healthy, it could be a really good season. This could be a decent-ish price overall. He's kind of off that long-term track. You can get back at it with a monster season. But, so the PSA 10, I don't know if it's going to be a $100 card or anything like that to justify, much more upside to this one. But, people could get excited about that White Sox team overall. They look pretty good here. Ken Griffey Jr. with a monster shot here. This is the star rookie BGS 9.5 with a rip out of the zone here. We've seen this before. Hasn't held. So, then again, something to just watch for the most part. All right, Vlad Guerrero, PSA 9 in the no number. More of a one-off than anything, bringing it back into an area where it's just the price for the most part here. Now, we've got to watch our ratios on these as well. So this is a $65 card, which would imply a PSA 10 being around $190, $200 or something like that. So I think if there's a little bit of pullback here to bring it back to $50, $60, that would make some sense. But let's just look at the 10 real quick here, $182. So I think a little bit of downside to the 9. So again, it was a little too fast. Much appreciated. Someone got a really, really good deal on that. But if it came back into that $60 area, a couple bucks down, I guess it wouldn't surprise me too much, because that would line up better with the PSA 10, which is sitting at support and hasn't really moved. Nice of people to keep these things in a holding pattern, not dump them. And again, with baseball coming back, we could see some of these players start to get some love again, but the charts will tell us what they'll tell us here. So David Ortiz raw, $115. Broke out of its zone. It wasn't picked up as quickly. It stutter stepped a little bit, but it's back into its zone here, where more of a fair price overall. So not much to do with that one at this current time. I mean, you can buy it, but don't expect monster upside or anything like that. If you get lucky on a one-off, that's kind of what you're looking for. But it's a steady climber for the most part. All right, Donnie Baseball. A couple names that have really been ripping here. PSA 9. That's his Flair rookie here. Brings it to the top of the range. So some of those older guys, their legacies are pretty much established for the most part. We don't have to worry about cutting into service time or anything like that. So I think people were looking for the vintage and bid some of these cards up. And now maybe we'll see some rotation back into the modern players. Wade Boggs, same thing. More of a one-off here. So he's back into a fair value. So that one is probably sets up a little bit better than the Matting, which is sitting at the top of the range here. But we're not talking about PSA not $140? Okay, that's no joke, I guess. So that's a big-ish deal. But monster upside from here, probably not. That was a steal, and now you're back into kind of a fair price as what the market is determined here. J Rod, he'll make his way up at some point here. So this is a prospect home, $60, top of the range here. You can get a better price, perhaps if you wait. I don't think there's gonna be any huge news on him. If he lights it up in spring training, then yeah, I suppose that would do it. But then when he gets sent down, that could take a little shine off until he comes back, and then he could rip again. So Marco Luciano, here's a couple fallers that are actually, so you see these one-offs, and it's like, oh man, I wish I would have got in on something like that. I was like, okay, I'll try and highlight those, but because they're one-offs, there may not be another one for sale at these levels here. So something to look out for. The Mega Box Chrome, so the Mojo Refractor, Marco Luciano. You'll hear a lot about him this year. He'll be sneaking into the top 5 of prospects if he's not already there. Sitting at the bottom of his range, $15. There you go. You can get it for $15, $20. That's probably not a bad deal. Freddie Freeman sitting at the bottom of his range as well. Now there's been a couple sales down here, so you may get lucky, but that's a raw card, condition sensitive, about $100. You get that card right around here, right around that number. It could work out pretty well. And I'm not sure a trade helps him a whole lot. I mean, he'll be in the news and front and center. But it's like, all right, he's on Atlanta, which is a really good team. If he goes to like the Mets, or people can be like, ooh, gotta get a piece of that. It's like, well, do you? So But anyways, longer term, yes, you should have a piece of Freddie Freeman. This is about as good a price as we've had for a while on that Diamond Anniversary card. Miggy Cabrera with a rip out of the range. We know the fake breaks. Be patient. And this is why. Now you're sitting at the bottom of the range on Miggy. If you want a nice example of the future Hall of Famer, there you go. Derek Jeter, SGC7, coming back into a pretty nice buy territory for him as well. So, yeah, what the heck? Who knows? Ronald Acuna Jr., PSA 9. You're talking about a $20 card here overall. But the archives, those are sweet looking cards. And that's kind of the price. I got one of these a few years ago for $20, so it hasn't moved. It hasn't made anything. But I'm happy with the card because it looks really awesome. And that's just been the price for a while. So here it is. So sell at 40, buy at 20, rinse, repeat. So or buy at 20, just hold. Kyrie Irving with a monster rip out of the bottom of its range. So again, this was a one-off. And then someone came in and got really eager. So probably something you can wait for. But you're not unlikely you come back down in here. But if you came back down to that, what is this card sitting at right now? $90, $100 or something like that. So if it came back down to 60, I guess maybe that's a little bit better. Save yourself a couple bucks at least. So Luka Doncic in the 2018 silver. This is the Concourse base with a monster move, a little fake out and a little break. Right now, this is more the price here. So again, these monster movers tend to reverse themselves quickly over the next week or two. Not always, but seems reasonable that how many more buyers you can find up here, or you can find some buyers down in that area. We shall see here. Michael Jordan raw. All right. We've looked at this one a few times. He makes his way back into the board as one of the larger fallers here, presenting what's likely to be an opportunity. Like him in that sub 1,000 area, it's a steal at that $700 area, and then when you get up to like 5,000, 6,000, you sell it. So rinse, repeat. If you're that's been the trend for the last year and a half, 2 years or something like a year and a half at least. So if you're able to get a decent condition one in this sub $1,000 area and you're patient, then it tends to make its way back up into the multiple thousands, I guess. So do that until it works, I suppose. LeBron James chrome base. This is the 2003 Bowman Rookies and Stars. I don't know how much interest this card actually gets here, but anyways, right now it should get a lot of interest because that's a pretty attractive spot for the time being. John Morant, Blue Velocity, another faller from top of the range to the bottom of the range. Risk reward setting up fairly well. The raw version of that card going for about $75. And Randy Moss, raw, with a monster move here. Some football risers, I guess we're into those. $15 or whatever, but if it comes back down a little bit, if you get a steal at $5, great. Otherwise, this is just kind of the price. Don't argue with $15 too much, you cheapskate. Scary Terry, F1. I like F1. You get Carson Wentz, your cards are going to pop because good things are going to happen, right? So PSA 10. This is the base, $42. More of the price here. It's kind of the fake break one-off type thing. And now you're in an area where it's like, okay, fair value. Don't expect huge moves. I mean, they'll be wild, but don't know that you can take part of them because the bulk of the buying or transactions is in this area here. Down in here, you get kind of lucky, and you might start to see some one-offs. Who knows? But we'll see how excited people are about Carson Wentz joining the team here. Lamar Jackson in a PSA 10. Where does picture go here? No offense, Lamar. I love you, buddy. So nice rip from the bottom of the range. It is more of a one-off, and I think your price settles in a little bit lower here. The aforementioned Carson Wentz in the buy zone and a rip. So the downtrend is still intact here. There's probably more downside than upside, but you're just kind of in the middle of the range, and it's not an expensive card. So you want to Wentz, just do your thing on that one. Jonathan Taylor, some of your followers, $25 for your league leading rushing leader. So league leading rushing leader, that just that was smooth. Gets up to like $70, $80. Yeah, it's been a sell, and when it gets into this area, it's been a pretty strong buy for those silvers. That seems fairly cheap if you can get it. So again, sometimes you see a few purchases in there and you can get in on it. Sometimes it's a one-off, and you got no shot here. DeAndre Hopkins, he's still a thing, right? Well, for $6, you can find out. All right. Joey Burrow, the silver mosaic raw, top of the range and getting smacked down to the bottom of the range. So if you've been patient on Joey B, here is one option for you that sets up fairly decently. And Johnny Unitas, his cards across the board were getting smacked down. I don't know what the heck that's all about. So had a couple of the auction houses, get involved, and those people will pay a little bit higher price, I suppose. But for the rest of us schmucks, it's at least coming into an area that may be interesting. I guess there could be a little bit more downside, but that's a pretty decent drop for that card. And we'll wind it up with your risers and fallers in the individual sports with a Brett Favre and a PSA 9 sitting at the bottom of the range overall. So it gets a little bit thin, but in this area, buying has happened in the past here, so it seems like a decent enough spot here. We're talking about, what, 40, 45, 50 bucks. So who knows where the next move pushes it, but it seems like a decent price for the Hall of Famer. All right, do some baseball widely held. Be brief on some of these because we covered enough already. Mike Trout, $2,600 sitting near the bottom of the range. See if the season getting going here and him being healthy gives any lift to his cards here. Fernando Tatis's cards are mostly flat. If you look at the base, look at the chrome, not a whole lot going on there. Chrome refractor. X-Factor, kind of the same thing. It's held up a bit better, I suppose, but it is getting a little bit of action here in the PSA 9. So, a lot of sideways action for most of these guys here. Juan Soto in the pink, consolidating. A couple sales here in that $1,300, $1,400 area here, but that seems to be the price. Anything else that deviates from that is quickly snapped up as more of a one-off for the most part. Shohei Ohtani, chrome in the pitching base here, so broken downtrend and just digesting, consolidating. What is he going to have to do to get his cards going next year? I mean, here's your MVP. What more is he going to be able to do here? Yeah, that home run to fly ball rate looks like it's going to regress. He strikes out a ton. Maybe he doesn't. Whatever his expectations are, it'll be if they're very high. If they're looking for a repeat, could be disappointing. So we'll see what goes on. But slight grind upwards to that card here is not going to hurt you for the time being. Jose Ramirez. All right, a couple guys here. 65 bucks for a PSA 10. All right, here's where he sits. It's at a decent spot. Whatever it is, look at Manny Machado. Kind of the same thing, lower end of his range. You can get that for $55. Look at Juan Soto. Look at Acuna. Look at Tatis. They've got their PSA 10s. $100, $120, $150, and they're 10 times the population for the most part. So it's like, well, which one do you rather buy at this point here? So these guys are on an excellent Hall of Fame track. They're a couple of years behind, like the Lindors and the Arenados of the world. And there's plenty of others, and so I wouldn't expect them to be $90 to $100 cards or anything like that. But another couple of years of what they're doing, they could get to that level. But you've got the guys that are 22, 23. Look at the Vlad and the guys we just mentioned there. It's like, all right, they're on more of a generational path. I get it, but not all of them are going to make it. For me, the way this sets up, it's like, all right, I'm just going to, they're ignored right now, the Machados and the Jose Ramirez, and so that's the route I'm going to go there. So I'll keep getting those guys, and you go get, and everybody else can do their thing on the other ones. I like them too, but I just wait and see how it sorts itself out here. Nolan Arenado, this is the chrome base PSA 10. With a nice rip off of this one. Yeah, again, here's one person thinks this is the price. A lot of people recently think this is the price. So maybe get a little bit better price on that in the near future. But Arenado not getting probably as enough love as he maybe should. All right, Patrick Mahomes, some football here. Prism Silver, PSA 9, grinding sideways here. So that's what you want to see. You have your downtrend, you have your absolute collapse. Then just go sideways and work that off. Nice reference point here where it's stalling at here. So you have your risk and reward set up fairly defined. Aaron Rodgers staying with the Packers for another 4 years here. Fake Blake, we'll have to treat it as a fake break below for now. Successful retest and more upside than downside. Russell Wilson going to the Broncos. Is that good? I don't know. So downtrend is in place. You're sitting at the top of the range here on very little volume. So. See how that plays out. The guy going the other direction, Drew Lock, getting a little bit of love. This actually might set up a little bit better than Russell for the time being here. So you had your bottoming consolidation, and now you're kind of ripping to the top. It's not inexpensive. Well, you know what? I mean, it's a PSA 10. It's $195. Is he going to be the starter? I mean, are they going to try and bring in some people here? Who knows? But there's upside to that card, shockingly. So Steph Curry, PSA 9, bottom of the range, kind of more of a one-off. So this is consider this still pretty close to the bottom of the range overall, if that's a card you are looking for. If you got $2,000 to spend, there you go. John Morant, hollow, PSA 10, grinding upwards. So we like breaking this downtrend, this consolidation. Pretty decent range here. So call it like $1,000 down to what, 400. So in that breakout, $600. You could see $1,500-$1,600 out of this card. I suppose if he keeps going, we've got that brings it right up to this resistance point for the most part here. So that one is traveling upwards nicely. Luka Doncic, not traveling upwards nicely. He's been playing really well. I thought he'd get it. His cards would get some love here. Silver, PSA 10, but we're starting to see it leak below these previous prices here, these previous lows here. So it'll be very important to get some buying quickly to recapture this area here. Otherwise, this is just a consolidation, and the downtrend resumes overall. So we'll see how that one works out. Anthony Edwards, Goose. All right, sideways action sitting in the middle of the range, so not a strong buy or a strong sell for the most part. But the Timberwolves won 6 in a row here, can't be stopped. So we'll see how that plays out. Alexander Ovechkin. I thought we were supposed to sell everything Russian. Well, it's not Ovechkin's cards, I suppose, here. So still hanging out in the bottom of his new range here. So that's a decent sign overall. Jack Hughes in the PSA 10. PSA 9 and raw, actually, I think they're getting dinged up a little bit. The PSA 10 is getting up, is continuing to grind, but you're getting into an area where it's starting to have some one-off sales here. So if we do see a spike, take advantage of that if you can. But he's playing lights out right now, and that trend is still up for the time being. And Jonathan Huberdeau, this is your league points leader. So 1 second, I can get out of the way a little bit here. So pay attention to your ratios. So back in a little month, 2 months ago or something like that, the PSA 9 was sitting at $150. And the 10 was sitting at $350. The PSA 9 would imply a price of about $450 at some point, and that's what we're seeing right now. So, again, watch those ratios in the between the 9s and the 10s and see if there's something to take advantage of in there at times as well. So that's what I got for you. Have a great rest of the weekend. We'll talk to you later. Bye.